According to St. John, the 10th chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd, who does not own the shepherd, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away. And the wolf snatches them and scatters them. The hired hand runs away because the hired hand does not care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. Just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice, so that there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again. I have received this command from my Father. This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
You may be seated. One of the inherent difficulties of being human after millennia and millennia of genetic passing along and familial systems is that we are at our core followers. We follow. There is always something to follow. There is nothing new under the sun, as the writer of Ecclesiastes says. We follow. We sometimes follow in the very footsteps of those who have come before us. And sometimes we follow those who walk in the exact opposite footsteps of those who have come before us. I say many times, the apple that falls at the base of the tree in the other orchard, there is no in between. But we are followers. We follow. So, if you're going to follow, which you will, because we are followers. If you're going to bend to the will of another, anything, if you're going to give over your being to someone or something else, that other better be worth it. That other better be worth it. Whether it is a value structure, whether it is a person, it better be worth it. Now, I'm not talking about the tertiary influences that seem to ebb in and out of our sphere from time to time. I'm talking about the deep foundational life-defining things. The deep foundational life-defining followings. The things are the ones that affect us at our core and dictate our very vision and path forward. Who or whatever you choose to follow, it better be worth it. Because following something or someone at those deepest levels is intended to lead to the ultimate goal. Eternity, security, legacy, future, life. Now look, it's obvious that there are a plethora of choices in our world to follow. I don't think I can ever open my inbox of my email without at least 10 spam emails of these 10 different things to follow to make me a better person, grow more hair, lose more weight, be a better leader, be a better husband, be a better wife. Those are my favorite ones. Someone didn't check their demographics when they sent out that spam. There are a plethora of choices that are presented to us. We're bombarded with them. Some of them are noble. Many of them are very hollow. Some are actually very self-destructive. But all of those choices, all of the plethora of choices that we could follow, all lead to one place. Nowhere. Look, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much influence you garner. It does not matter how popular, pretty, liked, appreciated you are, because in the end, dead is dead. A little sobering, but true. Dead is dead. And if any of those things, or the myriad of other things that there are to follow, The grave for them is just as cold and dark. So if you're going to follow something, again, which we all do, then follow one who leads beyond the cold, dead ground. If you're going to give your life over to anything, give it to the one who has gone through the valley of the shadow of death. Didn't stop in the middle. Didn't get bogged down in the quicksand, but made it to the other side and smashed open the gates. And we know him as Jesus. The one who in the end will give all for the sake of those to be given to. Jesus, we know him as the Good Shepherd. And what makes him this? Because he lays down his life for the sheep. If you're going to follow the one who will give it all to you. Follow the one who's willing to die for you, who will turn it over, all of it for you. Wealth and power and prestige and popularity and happiness, comfort, elitism, hatred, isolation, anger, self-aggrandizing, busy schedules, 1,000 likes, none of those will die for you. Quite frankly, chasing those down will actually probably wind up killing you. Mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. None of those will give you the claim that Jesus does. And then go and do it. Jesus speaks it. He tells what it means to be the Good Shepherd, then he goes and does it for the sake of the sheep. I am the Good Shepherd. I laid down my life for the sheep. Not because it's going to be popular or make me look good. There ain't nothing good looking about hanging from the cross. Not because God said, you got to prove your love to me. Go down there, leave the throne room in heaven, go down and die some awful death so that I know that you love me. No, Jesus, as the Good Shepherd, lays down his life for the sheep, for those who follow. It is upon him and him alone that true allegiance should rest. It is upon him and him alone that salvation is delivered. And it is upon him and him alone that the path of life is forged. Lord, look, when we follow something, and that something promises a positive result, which it cannot live into, like I said before, it does not matter what you follow, if it ain't Jesus, dead is dead. You say ain't, right? Okay. All right, good. I can get away with it. If it ain't Jesus, dead is dead. I'm going to pull out my little Southern Baptist here. My brothers and sisters, if it ain't Jesus, dead is dead. Got it? Amen. All right, give me an amen. If it ain't Jesus, dead is dead. Amen. There we go. Now we're talking. Come on now. All right. Back to Lutheran. let's draw back, Pastor. We're getting a little uncomfortable here. Look, anything can promise a positive result, but if it's not in Jesus, then it's not going to live into it. It is not going to give the result that we look, and if it promises that result, then it is also going to require that your life dictate it accordingly. Anything that is followed dictates a life lived. If you want to become powerful and rich and prestigious, then you must work and do and make choices that would lead to power and riches and prestige. You must live that life. So if you are going to follow something, understand that that something will dictate your life. It will have expectations and pressures. And Jesus is no exception. Except that Jesus rose from the dead. So those pressures and expectations are worth it. The Good Shepherd, Jesus, the one who lays down his life for the sheep. And in doing so, the Good Shepherd expects the sheep to follow him and no other. The Good Shepherd expects the sheep to hear his voice and no other. To obey his call and no other. To travel his path and no other. The Good Shepherd will lay down his life for the sheep. We saw that happen. And in turn, he expects the sheep to dedicate their lives to following the shepherd always. Always. Look, folks, let's be clear. We don't get a weekend off from Jesus. We don't get to take a couple of days and say, I'm not going to be a believer. Look, what happens in Vegas may stay in Vegas, but Jesus is in Vegas too, my friends. Okay? We don't get to step away. When we come into the fold of the Good Shepherd and we hear his voice, we hear it always. Once the sheep learn the voice of the shepherd, then the sheep listen to and answer to no other, give in to no other, and work vigilantly to safeguard against any other voice, no matter how seductive that voice may be, no matter how much we desire that voice to take the lead. Once we know the voice of the shepherd, we listen to no other. Because it is only that shepherd who leads us not only through death into life, but on the right pathway for his name's sake. But here's the deal. Jesus does not desire and will not tolerate being put on the same level as everything else. Jesus does not want to be the shepherd who is in line with all the other shepherds. And we can say, oh, you know what? Today I want to follow the NFL shepherd. Next week I'm going to follow the, I don't know, Bobby Flay shepherd. I like Bobby Flay. Someday I'm going to try to beat Bobby Flay. I'm not going to do it, but I'll try. Jesus wants to be top dog. As the Good Shepherd, there is none that stand even equal to him, let alone above him. That is the expectation of the shepherd, that the sheep put nothing equal to or above the Good Shepherd. That his voice and his voice alone is what stands out. But the metaphor is pretty clear. We, brothers and sisters, you and I, though I will not call you sheep, we are the followers. We cannot climb onto the cross and do for ourselves what Jesus did for us. Ergo, he is the one to be followed. We are the ones who follow. And when we follow the one who can give us everything. And we allow nothing to come between us and him. We work vigilantly to make sure that any other voice that may come and try to needle into our lives doesn't get the power of the shepherd's voice. Even if those other voices sound better. Because as we agree, unless it's in Jesus, dead is dead. So if you want to be dead, listen to the other voices. If you want more than dead, then make sure that the shepherd stands above all others. I am the good shepherd. I lay down my life for the sheep.